Hey, what's up, guys? It is Josh Thomas back here with another edition of the Fanshare Sports Course Preview. We are back. It is 2020, and we are back at it with the brand new PGA Tour season. We start the season with the Sentry Tournament of Champions down at the Kapalua Plantation Course in Kapalua, Maui. Beautiful course that they've been playing at for a while now. We get to see some kind of exciting golf at a course that you get to play. If you go there, you are definitely able to get on and play, which is kind of fun because there's not a lot of courses on tour that allow your average hacks like me and you to get out there and play. So we got the Sentry Tournament of Champions this week. Anybody who won a golf tournament last year, whether it's an opposite field event or not, gets in, and it's a kind of a fun way to kick off the year. Only I think 36 guys in this field before we really get her going with the Sony Open next week. So we're excited here at Fanshare Sports. It's a brand new year, and we got lots of new kind of exciting things going on this year at Fanshare that I wanted to tell you about. So first things first, we got a new video podcast that's going to be coming out next week. I think the plan is Monday or Tuesday we'll be recording. It'll be myself and Lee Aldrich, DK Golf Bargains. Our boy Lee, we're trying to work it out with the time zones, between me in the Midwest here and Lee over in England. So trying to find a good time for that. Really, we're not like solidified on the format yet, but really going to be talking, quickly. It's going to be a video podcast just like this that you'll be able to go back and watch, which I think is definitely beneficial. Or we can make it downloadable with the audio format and really kind of looking at, hey, what are the trends this week, talking about the field, but then looking at, kind of things from an ownership perspective. All right, what are some of the plays that we want to make based on what we're seeing with the tags so far on Fanshare, and trying to make it a little bit different, not going to be short and sweet, not super long, not something that you're going to have to listen to for 2 hours to get all the key points. So you'll know who we like, and hopefully lock her down within half an hour, 35 minutes, get you going, kind of a drive time sort of podcast like Pat James did for Fanshare in the fall. I think that anything, I know for me personally, I want to knock something out in 30 minutes. I live in the Midwest here. I got a foot of snow yesterday. So if I'm getting out with the snowblower, I want to be able to listen to a whole podcast in 25 minutes and be on my way. I'm just like you. And the reason I use Fanshare is because everything's aggregated in one place. So I don't have hours and hours and hours to do my research every week. And, we don't want to, have this super long podcast that kind of goes through that as well. We have an improved lineup generator. That's something that is live on the site right now. I'm going to have a video going over how to use that later here. I'm super excited about this lineup generator. I think that being able to utilize ownership in your creation of GPP lineups is very important, and it really should help differentiate you for GPPs. And I think at the end of the day, that's maybe what's most important. I think on our own, just a general lineup generator that's going to give you your best points per dollar players as many times as they can inside of it. It doesn't necessarily give you the combinations that you need or that you're going to organically come to by yourself, as you do if you're able to manipulate ownership a little bit. So again, another thing that I'm really excited about, and we'll get more into that in my breakdown video. And then finally, as always, the best ownership projections in the game. I don't trust anybody else with my play when I'm looking at ownership projections, and either should you. So Fanshare Sports, you see the scroll on the bottom, use code Josh, gets you 20% off your VIP membership. So get in with the Fanshare VIP. You get access to this. You get access to our Discord that hopefully, I think there's tons of sharp dudes in there, and it's underutilized, right? Just being able to have a place where you can say, okay, this is what I want to do with my lineups, things like that. We also, I didn't put it on here, Lee's going to be doing showdown content for us. Excited about that. He's always super sharp. So we'll have that on site and more things to come. So let's get into this week. We got the Sentry Tournament of Champions. So we got 36 golfers here playing at the Plantation Course at Kapalua Resort in Kapalua, Hawaii. Weather is it's Hawaii, right? It's going to rain at some point. It's looking like Thursday and Friday are going to be pretty wet. So that's something that we need to keep an eye on as we go through here. With only 36 golfers, there's no tee time advantage, but know that it's possible that, this event gets pushed back a little bit, and they try to squeeze it in and sneak guys in and things like that, which is always tough. It's always annoying, especially if you're playing Showdown for a Showdown slate to last like 2 days. But that's just kind of what we get when we're in Hawaii here. So if you won an event last year, you were invited to this tournament. That doesn't mean that you come. Tiger won the Masters. He's not here, right? But most guys that did win, I think we got 36 here this week, are going to be playing, right? As you look kind of over the field, looks like John Rahm's going to be the top price player, followed by Justin Thomas and so on and so forth. There's some odd values that we'll get to in a bit. But the course itself is a par 73. It's the only par 73 they play all year. 56 yards, not super long by any stretch of the imagination. And there is a ton of elevation. All right. There is, you're going to see 400 plus yard drives here. Just with the way that if you hit it in the fairway and it slopes down, and that's the pros are doing it. But the cool thing is that, like I said, you can go play here. My parents have played this course when they went to Hawaii without me because they hate me. So they've played this course. You can hit some bombs here, just the average guy. Bermuda greens, Bermuda grass everywhere, Champion Bermuda. They just redid. We'll talk about that in a second here. 7,100 square feet, pretty big greens, right? I think I have it as like the third biggest green surface on tour. So knowing that we have big greens, big super wide fairways, what kind of comes into your mind when you think, okay, we got big greens, not Bermuda, but we got big greens and we got big wide fairways? Augusta, definitely an Augusta comp here. And if you look at the winners in the past, guys who've done well at Augusta have done here over the years. It's a Crenshaw and Core design. This was actually their first design, their first collaboration back in the 70s. They built this course, and over the last year, they've redone it. But more on that in a second. Course record 62. KJ Choi, GMAC, Chris Kirk, Jason Day, Xander Schauffele shot that 62 in the final round last year to beat out Gary Woodland. You can go low on this course. That's 11 under, right? It's par 72. So insane when you think about it. They over the last year, so after they finished playing golf last spring, or last January, they left it open for about a year, and then they shut down all of play in February last year. And they just opened it up back in December here for resort members to play again, but some pretty big changes. So all the bunkers were rebuilt, reshaped, new sand, everything put into there. Nice. All the greens were completely rebuilt with new drainage, new sand, all this brand new Tiff Eagle Bermuda grass. Okay. The entire course was replanted with not Champion, Celebration Bermuda. Okay. All the tees were laser leveled. So they went through and did some pretty serious reconstruction here. They also did some things just with the course in terms of being able to cover it for NBC, and putting out new scoreboards, things like that. But the real goal, and reading about this, I've done a bunch of research on this, that Core and Crenshaw were trying to do was, yes, okay, the tour pros play here for a month, for a week, but we need to make sure that this course is playable for our resort members, and people who are coming here. So in rebuilding these greens, I don't know if you guys remember, like a big time Tiger Woods fan, EA Sports back in the day, you could play this course, right? And the slopes on the green are huge, right? So you get some just insane putts on these huge greens. What they've done though is they've actually kind of leveled a lot of those out. So these greens are going to play much different than guys who have played here in the past are used to, or even just used to the break. It might break a completely different way than it looks, just because they've been completely reshaped. So this is actually a course that correlation wise, huge on course history. Right? Guys who have played well here in the past continue to play well here. And guys who play it for the first time very, very rarely do well. Shout out to our boy Kendo VT, Kenny Kim from the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast. If you find his Twitter account, he's got a whole list of, guys that have, I think it's like only 3 guys in the last 5 years that are playing it for their first time have finished in the top 5. So there's definitely some course history to think about here. Now, that being said, how are these changes going to affect that? We don't know. But for me personally, what I think it just opens up some of these new guys for me. So maybe I'm less scared to play a Cullen Morikawa who's teeing it up here for his first time. And talking with Core and Crenshaw, or not talking with, and reading about Core and Crenshaw and what they've said about the changes was that they really felt like they brought it back to the course that it was when they first started playing here, and really having to take some interesting lines and things like that. And what they found was that these internationals did really well here at the beginning. Stuart Appleby won 3 times in a row here. So if that's the type of course we're going to get, then these more creative guys are going to be in play. The internationals over the last 5 or 6 years have really struggled here. So maybe it brings some of those guys back into play. And when we look here, I think that, guys that, I'm trying to think, Paul Casey, who hasn't played here in a long time, might be interesting. And there's actually, as Data Golf has just put out some new interesting graphics that show what statistics correlate here. And the one thing that they found was that driving accuracy really correlates here worst among any course on tour. And that's what we find in our data as well. So these shorter kind of accuracy guys don't always do as well here. So looking at previous winners here, the thing that sticks out to me to begin with is right? We got the insane scoring, right? 23, 24, 22, 30, 21, 19, 16. While the course has changed a little, I think they've actually made it almost easier if they're going to make it so that their membership and their visitors can play it more competitively. I really do think that we could see this sort of like 30 score again here coming up. So that's definitely interesting. The second thing that sticks out again is Masters correlation, right? Xander, DJ, JT, Spieth, Reed, ZJ, right? All these guys that have done really, really well at the Masters over the years. So following that narrative might be a key to success this year. With that par 73, we've got a very interesting course. 1 short par 3, 2 long par 3s, 6 short par 4s. Par 73, right? We're getting that extra par 5, but these short par 4s, that's under 400 yards. So these are absolutely gettable holes. You're going to see guys being able to drive the green on a couple of these par 4s, especially the ones that are downhill. 2 medium par 4s, 3 long par 4s, 3 short par 5s, and a long par 5. This course is gettable. Like I said, I think that we see 28, 29, 30 for the winning score this week. There's no real range of holes that I'm really, looking at just because of all the elevation changes. A 517 yard par 4 might actually play shorter than a 400 and some yard par 4, just depending on, where the elevation changes are. And, you hit a slope here, you run it all the way down to the green. So it's not one of these courses that I'm going to say, okay, I want to focus on medium par 4 scoring or short par 5 scoring. I want to, it's a little bit of everything here. As we look at kind of like the average score per round, right? We got minus 2.08. So that makes this the easiest course or the third easiest course that I have in my database on tour. So lots of birdies, 0.63% eagle rate. That's 9th best on tour. The 24% birdie rate, meaning that 24% of the holes are birdied on average here. That's second easiest on tour. Not a lot of pars, not a lot of bogeys, right? Ranked 4th easiest, in terms of bogey percentage. Double bogey percentage, same sort of story. So again, what's the message here? This is an easy course that you can score on. Birdie or better, huge. So right now at this point, what I'm looking at is, okay, I want guys who have either A, played here in the past and done well, or B, have good Masters history. Okay. And then I want to look for guys who can make a ton of birdies, right? And then I want to look for guys who are long, right? Those are kind of my 3 big keys right now. And if we look at the Sentry Tournament of Champions history here and how guys have done, again, a list of guys, obviously these are guys that are top 20 in the world, right? They're top 25 in the world, or if you're talking about Reed or Fowler and Matsuyama, but these guys that have done well here are all guys who have really done well, with maybe the exception of Decky. He's had some good history at Augusta, but all of these guys, excellent players at Augusta. Now, this Gary Woodland 132, he's only made 1 appearance, but again, he's going to be a very popular play this week at $9,500. Definitely somebody that I'm interested in, but I would imagine he's the chalk of the chalk. But like, look at a Spieth, okay? Not playing this week. I added him and he's not even in the field because he can't win, right? I was just going to say Spieth is a guy that I'm definitely interested in, but got to win to get in, right? So I had left him in my database here. But Decky, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, definitely interesting. He's a huge odds value too, meaning that the odds to win for him based on his salary are better than those around him. So I'm interested in Patrick Reed this week. Ricky Fowler, Justin Thomas, 4 times here. He's averaging 107 DK points. That's insane, right? Averages 22 birdies, 6 bogeys, and an eagle. And in his time here, right? We're only talking about a 36 player field or a 40 some years or whatever it is, but his DK average ownership is 19.55. So that's interesting, right? So that's telling me that JT has been under owned here in the past and really performed well. So he's an interesting play. John Ram, 2 appearances here, done pretty well. And, it has crushed. So here's the other deal. When you look at the field this week, there's not a lot of guys that have played a ton here. There's 10, 12 guys that have played this course in the past, and the rest we're kind of talking about newbies. So you're going to have to roster some of these new guys. So while we know that course history here is important, I would imagine that in the winning lineup in GPPs this week, we're talking maybe 2, 3, even 4 guys that have never played here before that are going to be rostered in it. So definitely something to look at. So here's my winner this week. I'm on the John Ram train. The guy's been crushing. He's got great history here. Chalk donkey that I think busts, Gary Woodland. I thought he really struggled at the President's Cup. So while he should come back with good memories here, he's going to be massively owned. We're talking 40%, maybe even higher at that price tag of 9,500. Definitely somebody that I'm going to likely probably avoid in GPP, even though I think he's a stud. There's something with his game right now. He can't put it into an ocean, right? So how are you expecting to score on these birdie fests where you're going to have to make some 10, 12, 15 footers? And then Colin Morikawa, I just love this guy's game, right? He's so good. Definitely somebody I'm a fan of. And, I think that his game should really translate well here based on his just unbelievable approach play. So, hey, that's what I got for this week. Be on the lookout for that lineup generator video. Lee's going to have his golf or his bargains. I'll have my article up on Wednesday for Fanshare. And then, we'll get going. And again, you'll be on the lookout for the, for that showdown content over the weekend. I think this is a great tournament to play showdown in. We get that kind of prime time golf, which is always fun over in Hawaii. So definitely looking forward to a good week. Make sure you check out the rest of the content on Fanshare. And hey, NFL ain't done, right? We got playoffs this week. So be excited for that. We'll catch you on the flip side and be on the lookout for that podcast dropping next week. Thanks, guys.